that school?
I'm not sure. But I know the Waco school just went to contract with Urban to build the Waco Stadium.
Oh, Waco State University. Last 3 plays I've never seen this year.
We can't shoot out here.
We just need to be consistent. Get a couple of yards on every play. Good block, Jeff. Get them out.
First and 10 from 36.
Good block.
Number 30, Jeff Butler.
Shoot him, shoot him. He did.
knocked off then number 2 Florida State. They try to do it to number 11 Syracuse tonight in a game headlined by 2 of college football's brightest stars. Each team has a magic man of sweet moves who can really, really rock the house. You can really go, go, go. Just as fast, go, rock and flow. Round and round and round we go. West to wild and we're burning some more. I'm a good rockin' daddy. Yes, well, I'm a good rockin' daddy. Up on the breeze, I can't believe I'm a good rockin' daddy. 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 You take the field with the NC State Wolfpack. Last time they came on this field, the goalpost came down, the Florida State game. Disappointment the week after a loss at Baylor, trying to get back what they earned on this field 2.5 weeks ago as they take on number 11 Syracuse. Welcome to the start of the college football weekend. Thursday Night Football, Mike Tirico, Mike Gottfried. We throw around the word best probably far too often, but it's legit tonight. Maybe the best all-around quarterback in the country, Donovan McNabb. Why has he put himself on that plane this year, Mike?
Mike Donovan McNabb is an outstanding quarterback. He's a very accurate passer. He takes a lot of pride in his ball handling. And the big thing, he's 6'3", 220 pounds. He's a strong running back on the option. And his coaches talk about he's thrown 76 passes, only 1 bad pass, only no interceptions.
Troy Edwards, David Boston, Peter Ward. There are a bunch of really good wide receivers. If you haven't seen Torrey Holt, you're going to put him in your best list if he has a normal kind of night tonight.
Mike, all coaches will tell you there's sometimes a quarterback can beat you or a running back can beat you. Very rarely a wide receiver that can beat you in a ball game. George DeLeon, the defensive coordinator of Syracuse, said he's a guy that can beat us by himself. He does a great job of getting away from bump and run coverage, which you'll see tonight. He adjusts to the football very well. He'll hit the quick screen. They move him around a lot to try to keep him away from bump and run coverage. He's equally dangerous returning punts, and he shows you his strength here on this collision, keeps his feet, and scores a touchdown. The North Carolina State coaches said that he's the fastest player at North Carolina State in football pads.
And he is something special. If you saw Thursday game night, you know Holt caught the last pass when these teams met. For more on that, here's Dr. Jerry Punch. Doc?
Thank you very much, Michael, and hello, everyone. You know, after last year's remarkable come-from-behind overtime win by North Carolina State, both teams realize that tonight's rematch has grown to almost rivalry proportions. For the Orangemen of Syracuse, it is all about revenge. Revenge for a second-half collapse they say should have never happened. For the Wolfpack of North Carolina State, it is about remembering how special that night was and will always be.
All I remember is streaking down the sideline when we caught the two-point conversion. We caught it on their side of the sideline, and I just streaked up the sideline with a lot of excitement and was just happy, you know, that we overcame all the odds, went up there and proved that we could play football.
It gave me a bit of confidence that I could lead my team against anybody and we could win.
Torrey Holt and Jamie Barnett are typical of the Wolfpack players who head coach Mike O'Kane has turned into believers. Believers in a program whose signature week in and week out has been one of courage, composure, and remarkable second-half comebacks. Mike?
And Mike, that game last year, part of the reason O'Kane got a just-deserved 4-year contract extension. They backed that up with a victory here over Florida State earlier this year. On the opposite side, Syracuse head coach Paul Pasqualoni. He's 4 wins shy of Dick McPherson for second on the all-time win list as a head coach at Syracuse. 5 9+ win seasons in his first 7. Here is the offense for North Carolina State. You got to start with Barnett, who is making his 22nd consecutive start. He is a feisty guy, really talented too. Rashawn Spikes, Connecticut kid who chose Syracuse, NC State at the end and decided Wolfpack. Chris Coleman doesn't get the pub because of Torrey Holt, but he has a 19+ yard per catch average. And up front, best offensive lineman will say Ian Rafferty, the left tackle, who shut out Andre Wadsworth in the sack column when they played Florida State.
Move to defense, and
You see him right here, hit this gap right here and make this tackle. He timed that up perfect, and what's going to have to happen, Jamie Barnett's going to have to change his cadence a little bit because Syracuse already has a little bit of a read on what Barnett's calling and the time he's going to take the football.
Ricky Collins, 19, on the field for the Wolfpack. It's 3rd and long. They need to get to the 37 for a first down. Holt's got him there and more.
Barnett just didn't get it in there.
Eric Leak is at the top of the screen. 4th, 2nd and 10. Williams to Spike. Keith Bullock, the middle linebacker, who's 2nd on tackling in the Syracuse team, got him, but NC State now controlling that. 3 in the backfield, Holt on the bench. 3rd and goal. Barnett option again. Squirts forward and scores. Touchdown.
Play again. They're taking the pitch away. A low block. It looked like he fell down a little short of the goal line, but they gave him a touchdown. But Sean Spike with a nice block. Michael Kane does it.
On 2nd and 10, Rashawn Spike gets to the 29. It will be 3rd and 3. The guy does 2 games a week and still has time to keep up on the latest current events. An impressive man, this Gottfried.
I enjoyed Ross Perot last night, and I'm going to send him a card.
Catch good for 22. 1st and 10. They run with Rashawn Spike. Keith Bullock pulls them down. In the first 25 minutes, Ray Robinson, the freshman back for NC State, gets it out to the 15-yard line. North Carolina State beat Ohio in its opener, which was a Thursday night game. In an absolute monsoon, they needed a blocked punt in the 4th quarter and barely beat the right. 15-yard pickup for Barnett, whose elusiveness has been obvious in the early going. The handoff to Robinson, the true freshman. Just short of a first down. Here again, Jerry.
We told you that Jamie Barnett hurt his left knee in a pickup football game back in June. Now, Dr. David Fagenbaum had told Barnett that I could go in and do some things surgically to that knee, but you might miss the entire year. We can rehab the knee, you can wear a brace, and you might be back in 6 months. Fagenbaum told me remarkably in 6 weeks, Barnett was back and ready to practice, and they are absolutely amazed at his mobility with that brace on and that left knee.
The goalpost ended up at the Waffle House. 1st and goal, Wolfpack. The fullback, Butler, to the 1. Jeff Butler, the senior out of Florida. Only the 8th time he's carried the ball. Limited duty in his 4-year college career. Very highly recruited player and a good baseball player as well.
Yeah, Florida, Alabama recruited him, and Notre Dame also. Jeff Butler almost gets in the end zone here, but he came to North Carolina State because they'd let him play baseball. Finally, he's getting his chance to play the fullback position.
Carlos King was in that spot last year. He's now in the NFL. Play 8 of the drive. Ray Robinson, touchdown.
They're doing everything right.
I'll say. Deskevich. And the way Syracuse is playing defense, I think we're going to get a chance for the last 4.
about a yard deep in the end zone. So you see the push of the offensive line. Ian Rafferty, John Fletcher, Justin Burrows, Alex Rice, Jarvis Borum.
Mike O'Kane pulled a calf muscle when he leaped into the air against Florida State. That's why he didn't leave the ground. And Paul Pasqualoni's at the pulling your hair out point right now. Well, Torrey Holt did it early, and now it's the rest of the NC State offense, not just 81. He's grabbed the attention, and now the other guys are doing what they do best.
Well, that's what happens. All of a sudden, you start to figure that Torrey Holt's going to kill us. Then you start paying a lot of attention to him. Chris Coleman, then Ryan Hamrick hurt you with big pass receptions. And then Ray Robinson, Rashawn Spikes running the ball, Jamie Barnett on the option. So, as I said, this first half offensively has been a clinic for North Carolina State.
They've gone the long field 3 times, too, for touchdown drives. What an impressive performance by NC State. It's not every year that you have the chance to total. NC State has gone the long field 3 different times in the first half. They start on the ground with Rashawn Spikes. And the relatively unknown NC State offensive line really clearing some holes. Here's Dr. Jerry Punch again.
At halftime, talking with Syracuse head coach Paul Pasqualoni, said, Doc, offensively, we've got to get back into our pattern to run our offense. We have been out of sync. We have made mistakes. We've made miscues. Very successful with our power attack in the first half. We got to get back there defensively. We have had trouble stopping them, particularly on third down with the option. The option has surprised us. We've not prepared to see Barnett run the option, and thus he has been very effective. We have got to stop that third down play in the second half.
Jerry thanks. The first down pickup by Spikes was 6. Barnett to the air. There is the tailback Spikes for a first down. Bowling Greenwood ties him up at the 28. 1st and 10. They move the chains again.
And Spikes has been a big player in this ball game also. 77 touchdowns he scored in high school. We talked to George DeLeon. He mentioned a brace on Jamie Barnett. They didn't figure the option. They haven't shown much of it. Big third down plays, as Jerry Punch said, have been on the option with Jamie Barnett carrying the football.
Spikes, that strong, powerful runner behind him. The fullback Butler has done a quiet, solid job tonight. And there is Butler for a rare carry. But effective. North Carolina State was at the top of the ACC in rushing last year. This year, although it's only a 3-game sample, they are at the bottom of the ACC in rushing, just about 100 per game. Can they come up here in the second half and run the ball effectively?
Well, they're going to move up in the statistics after this ball game because they're running the ball very, very well. And their offensive line is having their way with the defensive line of Syracuse.
94 yards already tonight, so they've exceeded their gain out. 9th time in his career, the fullback Butler busts through the line, gets to the 15. It will be 2nd and 5. And Mike, when you have a talented quarterback and an exceptional wide receiver, they can do a lot of things, but you also need a creative scheme and game. Holt. Butler busts through the line, gets to the 15. It will be 2nd and 5.
Offensive backs for Sean Spikes, Ray Robinson, Jeff Butler to run through.
Led by center Justin Burrows. Ian Rafferty, that left tackle, number 60. Just inside the tight end there. 2nd and 3. The toss to Spikes for the first down and more. At the 43. Give him 11.
And Mike, you're at a part of the ball game where Syracuse has to try to do something to try to stop the offense. Now here you see a corner coming on the weak side, but James, he's running away from it with Rashawn Spikes. But now what happens when you start to man up on those wide receivers? Big
top of the screen, fullback Butler. The Butler does it. Fumble the football. And Syracuse recovered.
Biggest play of the ball game right there. Jeff Butler, complete control by North Carolina State. Jason Poles recovers the fumble. Now, will the real Syracuse team stand up or not?
Mark it down, 31-10, as you see, with 6.5 left in the third.
A bend back play, a little fullback bell. Of cutting back. And then he tries to take on Phil Nash. Phil Nash gets his helmet on the football. And that is the biggest play of this football game for Syracuse is to get back in it.
That's the guy who's only carried 15 times in his 4 years at NC State.
Johnson and Spotwood have to become factors right here.
McNabb to the air. This time has time. Johnson hangs on. Nearly lost it on the way out. Midfield. Same way the last drive started.
Kevin Johnson's dream was to play quarterback. He visited Syracuse and Nebraska.
Jeff's been a coach here 13 years. Third year he and Kent Briggs share those duties. Johnson top of the screen in motion. First and goal. McNabb. Touchdown to Brominski, the tight end. They love to throw to the tight ends in the red zone, and they do it again. Syracuse answers on what Mike said was the crucial drive of the game.
And Mike, go back to that fumble because North Carolina State had everything going their way. Syracuse, the door's open now for them to get back in this football game. And that was a nice drive. North Carolina State in complete control of this football game. Jeff Butler is going to get hit by Phil Nash. Ball pops out. Jason Poles recovers. And we have a 14-point football game. And this is a big series right here because Syracuse, time-wise, 4:33 on the clock. They need to turn it back over to their offense.
From the 20, Jamie Barnett leads the Wolfpack offense. And Rashawn Spice runs into Poles and gets about 4 yards. After Poles stopped him, Stan Gibbs wrapped him up. You know, this is why college football is fun, because they are 19 and 20, and in some cases for NC State, true freshmen 18 years old, and the emotions can change so quick. In the pros, the more mature players, sure, they're affected by emotion, but they can deal with it better. They've been through it. That's why college football really grabs you every weekend, and these are the moments that make more mature men out of these players.
And this is a relatively young North Carolina State football team. So when you get the ups and downs, it may affect them more.
2nd and 5, Barnett. 1st and 10 from the 39. Ray Robinson, the freshman, is the tailback now. Back to the fullback, Butler. He really got hit hard there and got a couple of yards. Duke Pettijohn and Phil Nash in on the tackle.
Again, Syracuse moving the safety. Phil Nash up. He made the tackle on Jeff Butler, but that on first down ensures that Torrey Holt, Chris Coleman are going to have one-on-one on the outside with the 8-man front being used by Syracuse to try to stop the run play on first down.
Nash's safety partner, Poles, was injured, so Charles Burton, redshirt freshman out of Texas, who's been in the lineup often tonight, is in there again. Barnett to the air.
Minnesota Vikings, but Ray Robinson still just a freshman.
Jermaine Stevens on the Chargers roster now, Jerry. 2nd and goal. Looking end zone, Barnett might run for it. Will run for it. Touchdown, Wolfpack. Getting close to Diskevich's complete jersey here.
And Mike, the happiest player on the North Carolina State team right now is Jeff Butler, and he made a good block for Jamie Barnett.
Butler, who fumbled earlier.
Had that fumble, and he made a good block to spring Jamie Barnett into that end zone.
The walk-on gets his 8th point of the night. Got 9 letters in that last name. He's getting close. Before we leave, a penalty marker is down, so hang on 1 second. A flag is down after the touchdown run by Jamie Barnett. Mike O'Kane Penalties on Syracuse. The point will stand, and NC State leads 38-17. Thursday night football. You don't want to say what if, but what if they could have gotten off to a better start against Baylor? Rashawn Spikes picks up the first down at the 15. NC State keeps moving the chains. We welcome those of you who watched the Atlanta Braves down to their last couple of outs, rally to beat the Cubs 2-1 and take a 2-0 series lead. What the Cubs are feeling is what Kyle McIntosh and the Syracuse team is feeling. A double-digit favorite, number 11 in the country, came in, walked down the field on their opening drive. It was 7-0, and then North Carolina State scored 31 of the next 34. Doing it all. Offense, defense, special teams. They've completely outplayed Syracuse. And NC State is on its way to doing something few teams ever do. They are going to beat 2 top 11 programs as an unranked team on their field in the same year.
And Mike, they've had help tonight for this crowd. This crowd has been very vocal and supported this young football team. Their rushing game came back. They were only averaging 93 yards rushing coming into this football game with Syracuse tonight. They've had a good ground game, a good plan by Michael O'Kane.
And they're super on the ground. They're now over 200 yards rushing as Spikes takes it out to the 20-yard line.
Michael O'Kane.
Yards rushing as Spikes takes it out.
The young football team of North Carolina State. Freshman, sophomore, Ray Robinson on offense. Redshirt junior quarterback Jamie Barnett.
Handing to Rashawn Spikes, who busted out from midfield. This drive started at the 1, and they are just lining up, smacking Syracuse in the mouth and running forward, led by this guy.
Great coaching staff and some outstanding young men as they've seen all year here, and they're paying tremendous dividends now.
Les Robinson, a vote of confidence, and they're going to get a victory tonight for Mike O'Kane and the Wolfpack of North Carolina State.
Well, Les's budget, Jerry, is going to take another hit for the 3rd time in 4 home games. They're going to bring down the goalpost here in Raleigh.
I don't think he minds.
6,000 a pop. But when you beat number 11 and you beat number 2 in the same season in back-to-back home games, it certainly is special. Torrey Holt was the man tonight. With Mike Godfrey and Dr. Jerry Punt, Mike Tirico, thanks for watching this presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. SportsCenter follows the break. The good rockin' daddy made sweet music here tonight.
This is ABC Sports, home of the Bowl Championship Series and the National Championship Game.
The scene in the NC State locker room before what Mike O'Kane has called the biggest game of the year. Joe Hamilton, the ACC's leading passer, engineers an explosive Georgia Tech offense that has the Yellow Jackets unbeaten in the conference and riding a 3-game winning streak. For NC State, Jamie Barnett and Torrey Holt form a lethal connection that has brought down the Wolfpack goalpost twice already this season. These two surging teams square. They've slain 2 Giants already at Carter Finley Stadium here in Raleigh this season. Moments ago, the cannons went off. The smoke as the Wolfpack raced out of the tunnel onto the field to take on Georgia Tech in a critical ACC matchup. And Tim Brandt, this is the game so evenly matched it could come down to special teams today. Yeah, I agree. He was at the top of your screen awaiting the kick of Rodney Williams. Spikes 2 yards deep. Back upfield, had a initially and out to the 20-yard line, maybe the 21. And the Chili starting lineups for NC State, an offensive line that's healthier than they've been all season long. Ryan Knutson back from a knee injury at left guard. First, the wideouts, Torrey Holt, maybe the Heisman Trophy winner if he keeps playing the way he's been. Chris Coleman has been very good for the Pack. And they're running the ball much more. Against Syracuse, they had that opportunity, and they've not only gone to Spikes, who had a career-high 96 yards, but also to Jeff Butler, the fullback.
As you look at Jamie Barnett, he's the one.
Jeff Butler, the fullback, now in, as the Pack operates out of the eye with Ray Robinson. Butler straight ahead. 12 yards. Goremovich hit him at the 16 and stopped him there after a pickup of about 2 or 3.
You know what's interesting here is the fact that NC State is spreading their players, their wideouts, almost from sideline to sideline.
You're running that.
First down and that long, right away, you're on defense. You have to locate Torrey Holt.
Big week last week against the Orange. Woo! Under pressure, Barnett throws to Butler, his fullback out of the backfield. Overthrows him, well covered by Matt Miller, the middle linebacker.
Everybody a little bit jumpy here early on because Holt was open. He looked that way, but he too felt pressure and started to go and look for his safety valve coming out of the backfield. Everybody's got those happy feet right now. Not unusual for a game this big in the conference and this early in the game.
Now, every player that we talked to this week said the same thing. We understand. When you talk about the ACC race, another fumble. Still loose, and Georgia Tech has it. The Yellow Jackets come up with a big play after giving it to the Wolfpack inside their own 30. Nate Simpson on the recovery. And the Yellow Jacket fans on their feet here at Carter Finley. Thing was loose for a long time.
Runs it in for 54 yards, folks. You don't see that very often. 3 turnovers, 3 touchdowns, 3 games.
First time that's ever happened in 3 consecutive games in Georgia Tech history. Ray Robinson ahead across the 5.
Have responded.
More of an aggressive defense, too, trying to cause those turnovers this season. Robinson doing a lot of work early on. Fights his way out to about the 11-yard line. Delonte Cameron, number 55, stops. A break on the sidelines. Both defenses have come up big so far. Jamie Barnett, first and 10 from the 16. The freshman Ray Robinson working exclusively as the tailback out to the 23. Mentioned a moment ago the injury, the stinger to Rashawn Spikes.
What they like about Ray Robinson is the fact that he'll come through and break some tackles. He's only 5'10", but he's 200 pounds. He's got a low center of gravity. The guy's got powerful legs. So if you're going to tackle him, you can't do it by arm tackling.
Highly recruited youngster.
Almost 5 yards a carry for a freshman. That's impressive for anybody.
Still working on Spikes on the sideline.
Except for throwing his arm out.
Robinson with a blocker ahead of him. Fights his way up to the 25 yard.
He's going to try to draw him all sides with a long count and then punt it out, I guess.
Oh, no, he's not. Barnett straight ahead for the first down. Oh, what a gamble.
That is a huge gamble. But it's the play we called the last time.
I'll tell you what. I don't want to play poker with Mike O'Kane.
No, he's a solid coach. But here again, watch. The guy's always going toward the marker. He's not going back to hand it off. He's not risking a handoff. He's getting positive yards and moving the chains.
In Virginia, we're going to know who the front runner is at least in the ACC race in a couple of weeks.
Of course, Georgia Tech hasn't finished in the final top 25 in the coaches' poll since winning the championship in 1990. But you see what's ahead of them here.
In Atlanta.
These are big games. Virginia at Georgia Tech. Holt. Play action, but really doesn't sell the fake. Now he's looking at Holt all the way and throws. Actually, it was Coleman. He never looked off Coleman. He was looking to the left. He led the safety to him. I thought it was Holt, but it was Coleman. and never came off that receiver. You know, if a defensive back looking at the quarterback, looking at his shoulders and reading his eyes, to take it right to the...
The one thing I'm sure Michael King talked about at halftime is the fact that the Wolfpack have come back a number of times the last couple of years. This year against Ohio to win it in a miracle game, and against Baylor they almost came back after they were down 26-0. Barry ahead for the first down.
But Barnett, partner, he did that with Barnett, and the thing is, he's gone. He's not in this ball game, and it's doubtful that he'll return. So right now, he's relying on that young gentleman right there. That's Barry, and he's a sophomore, and he hadn't really played much in game situations, although he got a lot of practice in the spring.
Torrey Holt, the numbers really don't tell the story. Also threw the long touchdown pass to Chris Coleman in the first half. First down for NC State. Ray Robinson, the freshman, a big hole. And he's got a first down. That offensive line opened up a hole that anyone could have run through.
And the offensive line really played well that first half. They protected Barnett when they had to. Now watch this. Watch the red jerseys and watch what's taking place. All of a sudden they're doubling up on guys. They're picking up the blitz, and then here comes the run. And they've got the crease on the left side, and Robinson gets a good block from Butler and turns it loose.
12-yard gain. They move the chains again. So a positive start to the second half on this opening drive for Charles Berry. Sophomore, straight drop, plenty of time. Out to his fullback, Jeff Butler. And he may have another Wolfpack first down. They're going to mark it just about a yard shy. Jamara Clark, 170 pounds, took on 226 pounds.